ACC Power Rankings straight ahead right here at the Voice of College Football. Please leave those comments and questions down below. Also, like and subscribe to the channel. All right, train wreck at number 17, Florida State. One win this season, and they had to be gifted that win by missed field goals by the Cal Golden Bears at home. It becomes worse and worse every week. The last edition would be a 35-11 loss to North Carolina, a team under Mack Brown that had never defeated Florida State with Mack Brown on the sideline. And they racked up 42 yards rushing, 201 yards of total offense. It's been a complete debacle from start to finish. The recruiting is going downhill. This is a program-wide issue. As the football team goes, they can't score 20 points against anyone. Put any defense on the field in front of Florida State, and they cannot score more than one touchdown. It is pitiful. It is Florida State football 2024, number 17 in the ACC. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, depending on your perspective, we don't get to see Florida State play Stanford this season. The Cardinal are awful. Latest edition of this would be last weekend against NC State, losing 59-28. Head coach Troy Taylor says of his defense, "We do nothing right. Fundamentally, we are not good at anything. No pass rush, can't stop the run, can't tackle." That sounds like a problem. Ashton Daniels tried to save them last week with 129 yards rushing. That's a record for a Stanford quarterback, but to no avail. Again, Stanford was squashed. They're awful. They have been outscored this season by 161 points against FBS opponents. At number 16 in the ACC, the Cardinal. The best bad team in college football? Go to Cal Berkeley. Justin Wilcox's team has lost 4 games by 9 points. They took Pitt to the wire, missed a field goal. Florida State to the wire, missed several field goals. And on and on and on. Blew a 35-10 lead against Miami. They've won 4 games outside the conference, including a trip to Auburn, which looked impressive at one point. No longer the case. Again, missed field goals stand in the way between this team being a mid-tier team in the ACC and being at the very bottom, 4 straight losses. At number 16 in the ACC, Cal. Bill O'Brien will do a fine job at Boston College, I have little doubt. The man knows how to coach. He knows offense in particular. He's a guy from the Northeast, and he knows how to run a football program. How good can Boston College actually be, though? 4-4 this season, 1-3 in the ACC. Had a bye last weekend. The previous game, a big letdown. A win over Louisville would have been nice, and they had a 17-point lead. Blew it, lost 31-27. Played close at Mizzou, only losing by 6. Win against Michigan State. At number 14 in the ACC, BC. Really, you can place any of these teams in the ACC from here all the way up to number 6, anywhere on the list, and be okay. Any of these teams could win against the other in any particular week, including Tony Elliott's Virginia Cavaliers. Their last outing, not a pretty one. They had played some decent football. They got a win against Boston College. They took Louisville down to the wire, losing in the final minute. That looks better and better and better all the time. What doesn't is their last game. 41-14 blowout against North Carolina. At number 13 in the ACC, the Wahoos. Appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football for our ACC Power Rankings. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. NC State showed us early in the season that they would be nowhere close to their standards, certainly not up to the 2023 team's 9-4 finish. Dave Dorn, of course, has done a fine job during the back half of his tenure in Raleigh. This team is an exception, but they are starting to rack up some wins to get them to 5-4. The last effort, an easy one over Stanford, 59-28. With Grayson McCall's retirement, this is now C.J. Bailey's team. He completed 18 of 20 in that game as the Wolfpack rolled up 527 yards of total offense and its highest scoring output since 2015. At number 12 in the ACC, the Pack. Wake Forest certainly has never had the best talent in the ACC or anywhere close to it, but they have had one of the best coaches in Dave Clawson. Typically gets them to 7 or 8 wins. Down year, of course, in 2023. Called himself out at the end of the year to say, I'm a 4-8 head football coach. Yes, you are, Dave Clawson, because you take accountability. We know better than that. and Wake is fighting back to respectability this year, trying to get back to a bowl game. Hank Bachmeier at quarterback, his third team after stops at Boise State and Louisiana Tech. 12 touchdowns and 6 picks for him at 4-4 and number 11 in the conference. Wake, everybody looks good against Florida State, even North Carolina. Mac Brown, even jinxed against FSU, is going to win in 2024 as he did for the first time in 12 outings against FSU. Omarion Hampton, thanks to him and what he credits to be an offensive line performance in Tallahassee, 265 total yards from scrimmage for Hampton, 5 touchdowns for a UNC throttling of Florida State, coming off a demolition of Virginia, 41-14. Maybe this team's playing for Mac Brown, who has decided to step down, most likely after 2024. At number 10 in the conference, Heels. For most of the playing time over the last 2 weekends, Duke has looked like an ACC championship contender. Took SMU to the wire, should have won the game. They had a field goal lined up for the game winner on the final play of regulation and, of course, missed it and lost 28-27 to the Mustangs. 1 week later, 28-17 lead against Miami in the third quarter. Unfortunately, the game was far from over, and Duke was outscored 36-3 after that. Malik Murphy, fun to watch, makes some big plays. Also makes big plays for the other team. Put up 2 shot put passes as punt return type interceptions for Miami last weekend. 2-3 in the ACC, could be better. Number 9 in the conference, the Dukies. Georgia Tech inherited one of the most difficult overall schedules in the ACC with the dates against Georgia upcoming and against Notre Dame. A loss a couple weekends ago, so we knew it was going to be a struggle. Still at 5-4, they're in position to get to postseason play. 3-3 in the ACC, despite missing quarterback Haynes King in their last 2 outings. At number 8 in the ACC, Georgia Tech. Minus Kyron Drones and Bashul Tutin, Virginia Tech still led Syracuse by 18 points but could not close out. Drones replaced by Colin Schlee, who acquitted himself. 16 of 24, 206 yards. The former UCLA quarterback is the backup quarterback for the Hokies. Bashul Tutin, the 5th-rated rusher in the nation at almost 1,000 yards. He was missing, and Virginia Tech could not hold on to an 18-point lead. They lose by a touchdown in overtime to Syracuse. Next up in the ACC, the Hokies at number 7. With the aforementioned 18-point comeback win against Virginia Tech in hand, next up is Syracuse. Kyle McCord giveth and Kyle McCord taketh away. He has had to shoulder this team with most attempts and pass completions in the nation at one point this season, and he has looked the part mostly, of course, 2 weekends ago with one of the most abysmal stat lines in quarterback play in 2024 with 5 picks against Pitt, 3 pick sixes in the first half, and of course Syracuse had no chance in that game. But to their credit, down 18, coming off the Pitt disaster, they come back to get the win against Virginia Tech in fine fashion in overtime because they were balanced. McCord only had to throw for 280 yards in this game. LaQuint Allen, 3 touchdowns rushing and 121 yards. Fran Brown likes when it's balanced. He likes his Syracuse football team, and despite his blowing of the Stanford game with mismanagement on the sideline, Syracuse at number 6. While Florida State is certainly the classic train wreck, it is not a good year for the stalwarts of the ACC. Clemson, who owned this conference for a decade, is clearly down. There are no excuses left. Dominated by Louisville in every phase and aspect of the game. 2 blocked field goals, no offensive line push. The defense, which was shredded in garbage time by bad teams and excused because Clemson had big leads, showed that in meaningful playing time against meaningful snaps against Louisville could not hold up. Clemson looked bad. They were outclassed in this game. They have yet to beat a decent team this year. Their best win is Virginia at 4-4. Trying times at Clemson. What will Dabo do about it? That's a topic for another time. At number 5 in the ACC, Clemson. Every season across the nation, there are teams that get off to fast starts, and we wonder whether they are legit. Most of the time, they get exposed. Other times, they break through to become better and better teams and improve and show that maybe some early season luck also could be combined with some talent and some exceptional play, and they turn out to be fairy tale stories. Not the case with Pitt. They went to SMU and were completely annihilated. Just run all over the field by Brashard Smith, Kevin Jennings and company, and Pitt exposed after a 7-0 start. Still a good season, still 7-1. Pat Narduzzi excused it and said, we will bounce back. At number 4 in the ACC, Pitt. Yes, Louisville is just 6-3, but consider its 3 losses were to Notre Dame by a touchdown on the road, to Miami by a touchdown, to SMU by a touchdown. They've lost 3 one-score games. Yes, the defense has not looked good on occasion, but against Clemson, certainly a step in the right direction. And any team head coached by Jeff Brom has a shot. He knows what he's doing. He showed it at Purdue. Now he's showing it at Clemson. They will not get back to the ACC championship game, but they are an excellent team with Tyler Shuck, of course, at quarterback, and all sorts of weapons on offense, including the freshman Isaac Brown at the running back position. At number 3 in the ACC, Louisville. Pitt got exposed by SMU. What does it say about the Mustangs? Well, it confirms that they're a solid, explosive football team. 148-25. It was not that close. They led 48-11. They scored 31 points in the first half. Brashard Smith ran wild, 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kevin Jennings, 306 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. He's electric. SMU, the first group of 5 to go 5-0 in conference play in the Power Conference in their first year, elevating. This SMU team has 1 loss to BYU, an undefeated Big 12 team, 18-15. They defeated Duke on the road after losing the turnover battle 6-0 and still won the game. I considered putting them at number 1. Look at the loss. It's to a top 10 team in the country. And they have knocked off the best teams in the ACC that have been in front of them in recent weeks. At number 2 in the ACC, SMU. Thanks to our buddy and viewer David Greenshield, I make this comparison. 2023 Jaden Daniels in LSU, 2024 Cam Ward in Miami. Horrific at times on defense. A sieve on defense at times, but playing exceptionally well on offense and just flat out explosive, fun to watch, wide open, let her fly. Cam Ward, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns against Duke. They trailed by 11 in the third quarter. Did they squeak by to get the win this time? No, they breezed by. 36-3 on the scoreboard, past that to win by 22 points. This is the team that has had some razor-close games against the likes of Virginia Tech and, of course, against Cal. But the underlining portion of that game was that they, yes, did not play well for 3+ quarters to get themselves in a bind, but they had the firepower on offense to make the late game comeback. Cal had them down by 25 points. That wasn't enough. Virginia Tech, 10 points very late in the ball game. Not enough. Duke had him down by 11. Not enough. Cam Ward, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. Xavier Restrepo, another outstanding game. 8 catches, $146, in becoming the all-time receiving leader at Miami. I considered SMU, but they are perfect to date. Therefore, we honor the record. Number 1 in the ACC, Miami. Leave those comments and questions down below. We are going to go through all the power conferences with our conference rankings. And then also we want to line up scenarios and situations and so forth concerning conference championship races and CFP paths for all the teams with the college football playoff rankings announced on Tuesday night, right here at the Voice of College Football.